Hey gang, this is Andy over at Falco Canine Academy. Just waiting for my countdown to finish there. Hey, we're going to be talking about some bed bug dog stuff here again. Over the last couple of days, I've been going to one of my favorite places to train, and that's Yorba Linda Friends Church, of course, in Yorba Linda. And they're kind enough to let me bring the dogs down there and do training. We do our monthly detection dogs training. It's a huge campus that you have the old sanctuary, you have schoolrooms, you have the new sanctuary, you got children's centers, you got shenanigans going on all over the place. It is a great, great place to search. Already have people joining me. That's fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and put a link. Hold on. Let me do a couple things here. And while I'm talking, I want to be able to let you know that if you want a free report, that you can get it by clicking on a link that I'm going to put in the comment section here. I'm using BeLive.tv to broadcast here. And so just in case some of you are wondering, if you want to know more about how to do this, just get hold of me in a private message and I can set you up. I do a training course on giving live, putting together your own live Facebook TV show. And obviously I can't talk and find Falco Canine. There it is. Find Falco Canine Academy's Facebook page. All right, so here I'm going to post a link. If you have a camera and a mic that you can trust on your computer and you want to join me and ask me any questions that you want, no matter where you are in the world, you're just going to use this link and you're going to connect. And as long as I can hear you and see you and you're not backlit, and one day I had a guy try to join me once in a Periscope who was a sock puppet, and that was miserable. So first, this link I'm going to give you right now is the one if you want to get a free report for training your dog with love and respect. So that one's there right now, that link that's on. Hey, Gina, I'm glad you're here. And next, I'm going to give you the link. So if you have a camera, you can even use your phone. And if you want to come on live, and this link is coming now. So if you want... Oh, that's weird. It comes up as email capture. That's funny. Okay, so here's a link. If you want to be a guest on the show and come on with your camera and your mic and have any questions about what it is we're going to be talking about today, just click on that link. I will see you in the, it's called a green room or a lobby. I will see you in there. And as long as I can see you, you're not horribly backlit, and you don't look like a stalker or some weird person, I'll bring you on and we'll have a discussion about what it is we're going to talk about. But what I want to do is I recorded, which I'm finding might be a little bit easier. Because you're going to see in the very first video that I'm going to show you is me trying to hold my phone and follow a dog around. It doesn't work very well. And then the second time I put my camera on a tripod and videotape that way. And so we're just going to go through, break down what's kind of happened over the last couple of days. The videos you're going to see have happened over the last, I want to say 3 days. I'm not 100% sure, but I think the last 3 days. And it's been some good stuff. So to remind you where we are at. And I have a couple of other things I want to talk about, some housekeeping. So we were on the blocks. We train the sit separately. We train the odor separately. If you want to know how to do that, watch those videos. We began to bring those two things together when the dog would show me that he had discovered the odor. Then I was giving the sit command. And now I was taking away the ball, right? I was cutting it in half and then cut it into quarters and then cut it into a quarter of a quarter, whatever that is in measurement terms. And then until we had nothing and the dog was going through just the odor of the live bed bugs and then rewarding with a toy. And now we've moved into a realistic environment like the church and began training in the church. So I can begin now to hide just the biles and these different spots and that kind of stuff. And so that's kind of where we're at now. And that's what we've been doing the last couple of days. I'm mixing it a little bit with the sit and sometimes not, which you may see. I'm pretty sure the videos I have queued up are the correct ones. I took a lot of video and I just put in the ones I thought would be helpful. Stuart Lopez asked, we use bed bug sniffing dogs daily at work. Amazing. Oh, where do you work, Stuart? Let me know where you work if you want to. That's awesome. We know that there's dogs that utilize some of our, let me take off my lower third when we do that, that are in hotels in Las Vegas. I don't think the Wynn Hotel minds if we mention that they have bed bug dogs going through all the rooms all the time. So if you want to stay at a place that really cares about whether you have bed bugs in your room, I think the Wynn Hotel in Las Vegas is one. I really like your logo there, Stuart, on your Facebook page. Lloyd Pest Control. Nice. Very good. Lloyd Pest Control. See you guys all over the place. You're the one with the blue hubcaps? I think that's the same one, right? Oh no, that's a bed bug man. Sorry, didn't mean to confuse you. There's so many pest controls. You know, when before I got into the bed bug dog stuff and into the pest control business, maybe I saw Western once in a while or Orkin or something like that, but I really didn't pay that much attention. But once I started getting into the pest control kind of side of things, I see pest control all over the place. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take Stuart's comment down. Good, and we are going to. So let me just make sure that Lloyd gets the proper plug. Lloyd Pest Control. I'm sorry, I took the hubcap color for another company. Hope that didn't cause Stuart to leave. All right, I'm going to share my screen here and show you I put my video in a PowerPoint or a keynote presentation. And so just give me a second to open that up. And I'm going to kind of narrate through this the best I can. Just got to find my keynote. There it is. And we're going to make it big. Now, I can't see your comments during this time, so I'm going to have to come back after the video and check out your comments. But we're going to go through a little bit of this as we talk. And then I'm going to talk about those things that I need to clean up. I got some comments in some of the last broadcasts. I want to make sure and address those. I think somebody thought that I was afraid what other trainers think. I really don't care that much. I'd like to hear from other trainers, but not to the sense that it's going to necessarily hurt my feelings or anything like that. As again, I want you guys to tell me what it is you're thinking. And there was a question about plastic vials versus glass vials, or why I don't use plastic vials, and that's not the case. But we're going to talk about the vials in a little bit and the way we house the bed bugs after we do this video. All right, so here we are. We are at Friends Church in Yorba Linda. And just to let you know, this is a really bad picture to kind of be stuck on. Hold on, let me get, not that one either. How about that one? Nope, how about? Sorry. Oh, man, I'm getting into where he's going to make the fine. Hold on. I want to find a better picture to be frozen on while I talk. No, can't find it. Too bad. We're going to have to be stuck on this. All right. So what we're doing is we're in the children's. This is the preschool. What do they call it? I think this is like the I don't know, the preschool area of the church. They have toys that make sounds and noises. They beep, and they have little cartoon voices that go on, that kind of stuff. I think it's a great place to start kind of some of this training, as long as the dogs aren't too weirded out about it, because it forces them to kind of search regardless of the bells and whistles and ding dongs and the "come on, I'm not." You're going to hear it from time to time. I'm not sure if the volume is going to be loud enough, but you may hear it from time to time when the dog hits something with his tail. I took and hid bed bugs inside one of the toys, which you're going to see here in just a moment. And right now, what I'm looking for mostly is odor recognition, and I'm going to reward for that, even though we have been working on the sit, but it's going to be interchange. You're going to hear me tell the dog to sit every so often. I'm just kind of playing with it again. This moment in time is kind of playing with, what is it that I'm more concerned about? Am I more concerned that the dog recognizes the odor and gets rewarded for recognition of the odor? Or am I going to make the dog follow through with all of the steps? In other words, does the dog take me to source and then sit after taking me to source? And that's the complete package, right? And so at this phase, I'm bouncing kind of back and forth. So you're going to be maybe wondering, well, why did you reward then? The dog wasn't sitting. It's because we're just kind of bouncing back and forth to make sure that we're kind of clear in the message and that it really is about the odor, but we are going to be looking for you to do some other stuff on occasion. Pretty soon we're going to make it so that that's the only thing we want, is the dog to find the odor, take us to source, and then sit and then be as close to that source as possible, right? So right now we're at the phase of kind of bouncing back and forth. So here is Ollie. He's going to be running around. Again, my camera work is, I'm trying to pay attention. Right there, you can see that he recognizes the odor, right? It's in that little oven, and he's on the backside of it and trying to push in there to try to open it up and try to get the bed bugs that are inside there. And you'll see me kind of roll the ball into that area where he's at so that he discovers it. And here it comes. Oh, there it is. All right, so that was a really quick one. And so that was him finding it. And good, right? The dog recognized the odor. And here the dog is searching the entire room. He had just found it in that toy. I really love dogs that are really dumb because they're really the easiest to train because I don't have to change the location. Dogs that are smart are hard to train because you have to constantly be training, changing the location and doing a bunch of other stuff. But he's good in that he's dumb and he's easy to train. All right. So he's going to search around, back and forth. Right now, he doesn't know a searching pattern because we haven't really developed that through our training. Where he's sniffing up there on the counter, I was up there washing my hands. I did some other stuff, so probably some of my odor is up there. So he's kind of attracted to the fact that my odor is kind of present over there. And here he goes, kind of sniffing around. Watch his head turn and comes back. Nice. That is beautiful. That's okay that he leaves it. Again, he's just still working out. He doesn't know the entire game. But now he's bouncing back and forth. He's not going as far. He turns around because he ran into the odor again. And look at that bracketing. Look at the bracketing as he comes back. And now finds it on the front side. Very nice. That was so good. I liked it all. He bracketed. He took us back to source. I'm going to come back to my camera here just because I just want to talk to you all for a second. And yeah, the bracketing back and forth, right? The first time, the very first video that you saw is the first time he's ever been in that room. He's never been there before. He's never experienced the toys and the distractions that are in there. I'm sure there's like little kid vomit and probably diapers that leak that's all over the carpet, that kind of stuff. The fact that he worked out of that, and that's the other thing you have to be aware of if you are observing what it is we're doing, that there is a lot of distractions, and they give the kids those little fishy crackers, right? The goldfish crackers. Those have to be everywhere, no matter if they vacuum or not. And so there's a lot that the dog is working through, right? And he's searching and finding the odor that he's trained. How good is that? Once he finds it the first time, he begins to work the game, right? He passes by it the first time, but as he comes back, do you see him work that the bracketing of the cone coming from the item? Beautiful. I like that. So, I had to make a choice, right? Do I wait and ask him to sit, and then when he sits, then reward him, or do I reward him for bracketing and making the find? In this case, now looking back, now thinking about it, I probably would have been better off rewarding at the moment he found it because he did so many things well, right? But I can't remember now if there was another, a training, another session before that or not. Not sure what that is. But watching that, I'm thinking, wow, I probably should have rewarded all the other stuff and not expected to sit. It's okay. It's detection dog work. We aren't using corrections or pinch collars or any kind of adversive of any kind. It's just fun and games, and it all worked out for the benefit of both of us there. But again, now looking back at it, maybe made a better choice there. But I don't know. It seems to have worked because watch some of the videos coming up here in just a second. All right, so. I hope you don't mind me just kind of talking through my own stuff here as we were doing this. All right. Oh man, it started all the way back at the beginning again. It really stinks. That's okay. I'll fast forward. I won't make you walk through or watch through the whole thing. All right. And there it is. All right. Oops. Wow, I skipped way ahead. All right. So there is Ollie. And then let's look at Flash. That's where he sat. All right, that was the end of the last one. So good. All right, here's Flash. Look at this. This is his first time in here. Look at him searching these chairs. Now, he's searching the chairs maybe because they have odor on them, right, that he's interested in. But no, he's continuing to pause here. He makes this find for the very first time. This is the very first search. Inside that easy bake oven looking thing is the bed bugs. Now, he moves on. Again, it's cool. You can see he's kind of confused. He's asking me questions, and as Aldo Secchi would say, the dog is looking for help. He's asking questions, and I'm doing nothing. Right? I wait for the dog to make the decision to go on his own. He moves back over to the area where he last smelt the bed bugs. He's trying to figure it out, and now he goes, this smells like bed bugs in there. This is really funny. And so I reward. That's the case. I made the decision. At the moment I can see that he recognized that there was some odor there, I reward him. Oh, there's another one where Flash goes there and actually sits. Oh, well, I'm sorry. I missed that. I think I probably did about 5 rounds each dog in that area. And each time they got a little bit better. So here is another room that we're in, and I put the bed bugs behind that That's plywood that's screwed up against the wall. At the bottom, you can pull the bottom out a little bit and hide one of those small vials of bed bugs underneath the wood. And you can see Ollie here. This is his first experience of smelling, of searching a room where now the hide is up above his head. Up to this point, as you know, the bed bugs have all been down towards the ground in the cinder block or were in that toy. Now the bugs are actually above the dog's head, not very high, just about head level and above. All right, so this is his first experience. So you see, he kind of picks up out of there and he works out of it. And I'm not hardly doing anything at this point. I want to see if the dog accidentally runs into it. We'll see what happens here. I don't know what that was. I think he heard the leash make a noise, so he thought something dropped on the ground. Yeah, the dog's confused again. It's kind of like the look that Flash was giving me in that earlier video. And I'm just kind of looking around, pretending like I have no idea what you're asking me right now, dog. I'm keeping him there. Yeah, so, you might want to check something over there on the piece of wood. Again, this is his first experience trying to find an odor that's smashed between a piece of plywood and a wall above his head. This cannot be that easy for a dog to figure out. Oh, he kind of picks up. Look how he picks up the odor. His tail wagged a little bit faster. He picked up something. He's smelling something. Nice. Oh, let me go back a little bit. Just a smidgy. Did you see him lick his lips when he smelled the odor? Oops, see that right there? Nah, hold on. Watch, I'm going to try to stop it right at that time. So right after this, he's going to lick his lips. Remember yesterday when I was talking about the dog licks their lips when they're confirming the odor? Watch. Right there. Do you see it? Stuck his tongue out. Nice. Very good, Ollie. All right, here we come back from another angle. It took a while. So that first session didn't go as fast as what we're seeing on video there. He walked around, kind of like was lost and confused. And that was probably about 8 minutes into the first trial or opportunity of the dog to enter the room and try to find it. I tapped the wall a couple times. I walked away. We just what we do is just kind of walk around and hope the dog will run into odor. And then at some point, maybe I'll tap, or maybe I don't, and get the dog into the area a little bit. And then finally the dog will smell it. And it's just, it needs a little bit of patience. You don't want to force the dog's head over there or grab his face and put it on the wood. You don't want to do anything like that. The dog will eventually do it if you just give it enough time. All right. I'm not sure if you guys are hearing the volume on the keynote or not, but it may be covering everything that I'm saying. I don't know. Now I pretend to throw the ball, and we try it again and see how quickly he remembers that he needs to search that wall. Again, this isn't a huge, there he goes right to it. Look at that. Nice. Nice. He sat on his own. Oh, I'm so excited with that dog. Remember, Ollie was behind Flash. And now he's caught up to Flash and maybe surpassed him today. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. I got excited. He doesn't always want to give up the ball. Now watch this one. Now, I probably should have did this one last, but now some of you may be asking, don't we want the dog to stare at source? And yeah, we will get there. So watch what happens here. So Ollie goes and smells it and then leaves and comes to me. Did you see that? Now the dog is trying to be a smart ass or smart aleck. I smelled it, turns, looks at me, watch. Turns and then sits and looks at me. He did that all on his own, right? Is that what I want? Not necessarily. This may be a little bit too early to be picky, but he's doing so well. And again, it's detection work. I'm not providing any corrections. We're not necessarily going to harm the dog by waiting. It may cause us for a delay in the dog to learning what it is he's supposed to be doing. But I felt safe enough to, let's see what happens if I make the dog be more perfect. In other words, I want the dog to go over there and have his nose on the source. So it really depends on where you're at with what dog and what it is you're doing. So I wait. and you can't see him. I'm out of camera there, out of camera range, but I'm doing nothing. The dog's going, hey, wait a minute. I found the odor and I sat. Good. Now he goes a little bit closer. Good. I could have rewarded then, but he wasn't right on the odor. Now he turned his back on the odor, which that's not what I want either. So what I'm going to do is reward for exactly what it is I want. I want his butt on the ground and his nose on the substance. So now his butt is down, but he's looking at me. Watch what happens here. Now. Nice. Sorry. I just got so excited. Now here's Flash. Sorry. I got to come back to my camera. I know you guys all want to. Well, let me just see Flash. I'll finish with Flash. But that last one was so cool. So Flashers have a little bit more difficulty trying to find it. So I'm trying to find exactly where the vial is. And in the meantime, he puts his nose on it. Nice. Good. So he's got this little bit of scratchy thing going on. I don't want to exasperate that by rewarding him when he's scratching, because if I do that, he could get the idea that scratching is exactly what I want. So you'll see the scratching get less and less as we repeat. You can have the person with a vacuum. That's okay. I don't mind. I'll still continue to train whether there's a person with a vacuum or not. People might stop training. I train right through the vacuuming. All the distractions that are possible. He goes to source. The scratching was last a little bit less. Reward him for the sit. Let's see. I think there's one more. And let's continue on. Here we go. All right. We're going to go back. Now, again, there's no real searcher. The dogs know where it's at. They just forget. They're kind of dopey. And so we just do the search again. Again, the early stages of training are not complicated. As a matter of fact, you want to make them fairly simple so the dog has success. Dog smelling the ground. Flash is just a little weirded out about this. Not weirded out. He's just not quite understanding what it is that's expected. There's a really nice pattern, a good going to source. Oh, I get so excited. Yeah. And we actually ended on that particular one there. All right, there's actually, I think I bring the dog back. I ended, and then we end up coming back a little bit later on. So let's see what happens here. So here I'm just widening out a little bit the search. So this is, we came back a little bit later on. Now he goes on his own. He's smelling his leash. The dog probably peed on it. All normal stuff. He's searching, sniffing. He goes past it, which is not a big deal. Again, this is early stages of training. We're getting towards, we did a lot of repetitions. It is hot outside. I want to make sure that we end on a positive note. And so we just did it one more time. And so I decided to quit on that one. It wasn't perfect, but the dog did exactly what we wanted. At least we're expecting for that particular day. All right, let me go ahead and come back to my camera. All right, that was exciting. That one part where Ollie put his nose on it and got the reward there right on cue. All right, I'm going to come back to my Be Live and see if there's any questions. Timing is so important. Yes, Gina, it is. And sometimes you miss it, and you can't beat yourself up about it as a trainer. Every so often, you're going to hit it right on the button. And again, you want to reward for the very thing that you're looking for. Every so often we mess up, but hey, it happens. At the pause, did you give him verbal or hand guidance, or he went ahead on his own? Yeah, so I couldn't see your comment when that was. Ollie, on the last couple ones, he was sitting on his own. I didn't have to tell him. That's already beginning to come around. Again, that's what I was saying, is that Ollie was behind Flash in the training process because of that leash issue. And then just the last couple of days, bam, 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 he's given us like 3 behaviors so quickly in a row just that he got it. Now, just a minute ago, I saw he went in the pool and he couldn't find the stairs, so I had to go out there and rescue him. So again, we're not talking about the brightest light bulb on the planet, but that's a good thing. Again, you'll all know that I love dumb dogs. Dumb dogs are so easy to train, and they end up serving us much better because they don't overthink, they don't try to learn, the patterns, and it's a much better way to go. Was AC on? Yeah, AC was on. Yeah, maybe that's why he passed the odor. Gina was asking about why he passed the odor. It's still early, right? And so the dogs are a little bit visual still. I think they're still running around looking for their tennis ball because we still do play fetch a little bit because we want to build up their muscles. You can see the dogs are thin because we're doing so much, play with the ball, fetch. You can see after they make the find, and a little while after a bit, I begin to play fetch with them and that kind of stuff. They're burning a lot of energy. So there's still a little visualness in what it is that they're doing in regard to playing with the toy. So I think they come in a little bit and look around. That, like you saw Ollie all of a sudden make this really drastic change. I think because he saw the leash move. So visual cues and distractions are still a part of it. Also, they're still learning the game. Passing by the odor is going to not be that unusual at this point, especially in that room. Both those rooms, they've never been in them before we conducted that training. So again, there's odors that are present, especially in that little kids room where kids are still in diapers. They eat on the floor. They're drinking out of bottles, which leak and get on the ground and that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff for those dogs to work through. So not unusual that they would be passing by the odor every so often. Oh, Chris Price. Chris is the owner of Ollie. Ollie looks good. Yes. So I'm glad to see Chris is on the broadcast. Again, any of you that want to join, if you have a camera and white trucks with a mouse on the door. Yep. Sorry, Stuart. Yep. I knew that. I just got the wrong ones for a second. Oh, that was from the first video. All right. Yeah. So I thought it was a very good couple training sessions. That was the training over the last 3 days, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember when I was there. But the really important things were all the odor distractions that I just described, the noise distractions of the toys, the bells, the jingling. You probably couldn't hear them, but there's like one giggling little toy that goes, as they were going by, hitting it with their tail, and they kept on searching. You had the lady with the vacuum. She had one of those big vacuum packs that are on her back, and she's vacuuming while we were doing the search, which was pretty cool. People were walking up and down the hallway and down the stairs and talking on their cell phones and that kind of stuff. So all that was happening while we were doing the search. So I thought the dogs did a really good job of staying focused, continuing the training program, and we were able to get the behaviors we were looking for, which was going to source and then performing a behavior on occasion. Flash right now has a little bit of a scratchy thing going on. That will go away as we begin to reward for exactly what it is we want. There can be a time with some dogs that they think they need to do both those things, right? If it's scratching and then I tell them to sit and then they get rewarded, there can be a little period of time where the dog thinks I find the odor, I go to source, I scratch a couple times and then I sit and then I get rewarded, right? And so it'll take a little while to get the dog to understand that scratching is not the thing. Belgian Malinois, Dutch Shepherds, German Shepherds, sometimes you have to give them the correction when they're scratching. You want to be very careful when you are correcting a dog for something that they're doing in that package that you don't like scratching or barking, because what you can cause, the problem that you can cause is the dog thinks he's correcting for one of the other things, right? If your timing is bad and you're trying to correct the dog who's scratching not to scratch, if you're too slow and you correct, the dog could be already in his mind thinking he's getting ready to sit and get that correction and now think he got corrected for thinking about sitting. If you're too early, it could be that the dog thinks that he's getting corrected for going to source, and now the dog won't want to go to source. And we can see that happen. I've seen it happen before, where the dog is confused, and even though in the beginning he was going to source, and then you gave him a correction for scratching, but he thought it was for going to source. You can now see the dog begin to get close to source, and now go and avoid the source, and then continue searching because they believe they got corrected for going to source. It can happen. So back to Gina's comment here, timing is so important. Yes, when it comes to a correction especially, and that's why you just try to take most of your training and detectional work on the fun side of things and try not to use a correction if you don't have to. If you can wait the dog out Wait until it performs the behaviors that you're looking for, and reward all of those things that you like, either with a verbal, a physical, or the toy. At the appropriate time, the dog will begin to put the package together and will begin to discount those things that he doesn't get rewarded for, in many cases. And so if you can, if it's not harming anything or hurting anything, and you can wait to see if the dog will just begin to stop scratching because he's getting rewarded for those other things instead, you'll be way better off. Because if you use a correction and it's ill-timed, it could set you back and harm you, especially in young dogs. Remember, these are year-old dogs. These dogs are a little too young to take a chance by giving a correction at the wrong time, because it will affect you longer than a dog that's older and more mature dog. So a dog that's a year old or so, you want to be very careful about those corrections. All right. I want to talk about somebody, and I'm so sorry, I forgot her name. She asked, goes, well, can't you use plastic vials? And the answer is yes. As a matter of fact, I was going to show some plastic vials that we do have, because I talked about that the dog had lifted up the cinder block with his paw. It came up, and then the glass vials rolled underneath, and when the dog let go, it smashed 3 of the vials. Yes, that's the danger of using glass. But yes, you can use plastic, and we have plastic vials, and probably feel safer using them. However, plastic has a very what you can describe as a big smell compared to glass. Glass is easier to clean. Plastic, as it gets dented, or just plastic overall, has a stronger smell for the most part. Does that really matter in dog detection, dog training? I'm not 100% sure that it does, but I do know that I can keep the glass vials cleaner, and there's probably less odor that I have to work the dog off of down the road when I'm using glass vials. Are they more dangerous? Yes. I think there is a little bit of an aspect of the bugs may die faster in glass because they can't grip it, and they spend more time doing stuff like this, burning calories. Where the plastic, sometimes they can grip. And so there's pluses and minuses to both. So I would suggest using both. Use plastic and glass interchangeably. When you can safely use glass, use the glass ones. If you want to use plastic, that's fine too. But all that, and we're going to do a class a little bit later on the vials themselves. With bed bugs, that's the unique thing about training a detection dog for bed bug detection, is that the vial is a huge issue that we have to deal with. It's a huge issue, and it's a pain in the butt. I haven't used my lower third here for a while. And so, yes, you can do that. All right. The other thing that got brought up is somebody said, why do you care so much what other trainers think, or don't mind what I don't. What I'm doing when I talk about, some of you trainers may say this or think that, is I'm trying to answer the questions that I'm not getting. So like Gina's on here, and she's a dog trainer, but she either doesn't want to get on camera or doesn't have the ability to do so. And so what I'm trying to do is get into her head a little bit, which is kind of crazy to begin with. But I'm trying to get in her head a little bit so I can, anticipate what she may be thinking and answering the questions that are on her head. Like, why didn't he do that? Or how come he didn't reward the dog when the dog went to source after showing a huge pattern change and showed very positive? It seems that it makes sense to me that should have been rewarded, as opposed to making the dog sit before it. So a trainer could have been thinking that, right? And so my job, I think, in putting these broadcasts together and these trainings together, is to sometimes get into the minds of the people that are watching, to try to anticipate questions that they may be thinking about and wanting to ask, but maybe can't because they're driving. Or they feel a little scared about, asking the question and putting themselves out there because they know that I'll put their face up there, like I did Gina's, like this. Boom. Just give the bed bugs your arm again. Yeah, right. And so to answer the question about, it really wasn't a question. It was just a statement. I think that somebody felt that I cared too much about what other trainers think. I don't. I'm trying to answer what may be going on in a trainer's head, a civilian's head, a civilian being a person that's not a dog trainer, and just trying to think about what it is that people are thinking and anticipate that, and do my job of teaching what I perceive people want to hear. All right. So I think it's been overall a good couple days of training. We are about on schedule, I think. I can't necessarily say we're ahead. I think a couple things that set us back were the leash issues early on. So perhaps we're maybe a couple days behind where I would actually want to be. I don't have any other issues that are coming up. So in some cases, you'll get dogs that when we go into a building for the first time, their tendency is to urinate on something. We haven't had that yet, which is good, because we have to try to work through that the best that we can to get them to stop doing that, because most of these dogs will go in homes and dorms and apartments and motels and hotels and that kind of stuff. So if we have a dog that is a urinator, then it's something that we have to try to work on the best we can, and understand how we keep the dog from doing that. It's not just simply giving the dog a break before he goes in. That seems like the easy solution, right? But remembering that urination inside of urination at all with a dog does not necessarily mean that it's just because they have to go pee. It's often related to sex and the desire to make sure that they mark a location so that others know that they're there. And so a dog that has a very strong sexual desire, a sex drive, as some people may put it, that's really hard. It's hard to work through, because it's not simply just giving the dog a break or withholding water or something like that. It's just something you have to try to figure out. Some dogs also urinate when they get nervous. Some dogs urinate a lot when they have a urinary tract infection. And so when we can't fix it with training, we have to take the dog to the vet and see if there's something going on that we need to address with some type of medication. So far, we have nothing like that. We had a dog, I've seen the water moving in. I think the dogs have finally figured out by jumping in the pool, they can cool off. So I'm seeing waves in the pool, and I'm guessing the dogs have begun to learn how to swim in the pool. These dogs from Northern Ireland who probably never seen a pool in their entire life. But as I look out the window, it looks like my kids are playing in the pool and the kids aren't here. And so that it's probably the dogs. All right. Unless anybody has any other questions, I'm going to visit another one of the sites here and just look. If the internet wasn't moving so slow, I'd do it a lot faster. And just see if some of it, again, I've tried to mention this before, but I think it's hard for people to understand what it is I'm talking about. But if you're not watching this on the Falco Canine Academy Facebook page and you're commenting, I won't see your comment because I'm broadcasting out of the Falco Canine Academy Facebook page. And so it's important that you understand that if you want me to answer your question or see your comment, that you click on the link that says Falco Canine Academy's live video. Click on that, and that will take you to the Facebook page where I can see your comment. So see, I just went to the bed bug. I see that Jay Samples has given the thumbs up, and so there are other people watching in other places. So if you have any comments, just make sure that you're doing it in the Falco Canine Academy Facebook page. All right. So yes, no, Gina, I'm not going to give the bed bugs my arm and feed them. I'm beyond that, and it's just too much. For whatever reason, for me, some bed bugs don't affect some people. Like my dad, he would get bit by a mosquito and he'd never see it. My mom would get bit by a mosquito, or was it the other way around? I think it was the other way around. My mom you would never see it, but my dad would get these big old gigantic itchy welts from the mosquito, and he got hugely affected by mosquito bites and that kind of stuff. It's the same thing with bed bugs. Some people have no signs that they've ever been bitten by a bed bug, and people like me, I get tiny little like almost blisters by feeding my dog, or feeding my bed bugs, and so it's a little bit painful. All right, so as usual, hope that training was helpful for those of you that are hoping to train a detection dog, and gives you some ideas and things to think about and consider as we continue on this path of training these two dogs. Training's going very well, very pleased with these dogs, especially going into that church the other day for the first time. You always wonder, when you get them in there, because coming in the house is one thing. They can smell me. They know that I'm kind of in charge, and they really don't do much other than run around like a banshees. It's when you're going into a new environment for the first time, and the dogs have never been there before, and what's kind of goes on, like in the children's section, what happens in there. I volunteered at that church and know the shenanigans that go on in there, all the food that gets, all the crackers and the bottles of formula that get spilled in that particular room. And again, the diapers that get opened up and that kind of stuff. There's a lot for the dogs to be distracted by, and they did wonderfully. Very, very pleased how the dogs reacted in that, and searched and found the odor, and when told to sit, they sat. And then in the other room, when we finally went above their head a little bit with the bed bug vial stuck underneath the plywood, you couldn't ask for anything better. And just, again, so pleased with the progress of both of these dogs. All right, so that's it. No questions coming in. Gina, thank you for joining. And Lloyd, I think it was. Chris Price, Stuart. Oh, he's from Lloyd's. Wow, I need to go have a drink. Stuart from Lloyd Pest Control. I'm so happy you joined us. And continue. Make sure you like and share the Facebook Live in the Falco Cannon Academy, and subscribe. By subscribing, you'll get announcements saying when it is that we are on and going live with Facebook. Sometimes I give announcements that we're going to be on ahead of time. It's just not always possible to do that. I just want to make sure and get on and give you some good training. The replays are always available, and so if you missed it, watch the replay, and you can still continue to comment, and I'll do my best to get back to that comment as soon as I can. All right. Hope that was helpful. I appreciate your time and your feedback very, very much. All right. Thank you. Take care, and we will talk to you later. Bye.